Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind. So, hello, good afternoon. I think everybody is there. Not too sure. Um, let's see here. I'm going to type hello. Looks like I've been on. Looks like there's an issue with the internet, but see if there's anyone there. You're good? All right. Good deal. There are some of you on there. All right. Well, my name is Gilroy Madrid. I want to thank you for being with us here today. We do have a few people in the room. I'm not going to put them on the spot. So we are located at the Technology Center, and we also do this federal programs meeting 3 times. I do it once a year, but we do it actually 3 times, 3 different dates, so that way people can either show up here or you can watch the recorded versions, or you can watch when we have them, such as Tuesday at lunch, and then we also we have it. Let me see here. Yes, and then we have it on Tuesday at lunch, Thursday at 6 p.m., and then Saturday at 10 a.m. Same time, 10 a.m. But it's the same presentation. In case you want to watch all three, you can. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and I believe YouTube. So I did type in the chat if anybody was there. I'm also gonna type in a Padlet in the chat. So that's kind of where the place to go to. If you have, I'll show you what we do on that Padlet. So before we start, again, thank you for being here with us today. We go through a lot of things today. So it's going to be it'll probably last 45 minutes. You can ask questions. I'll try to get to them. If I don't get to them today, I can get to them later. But I am going to share my screen now, it is being shared. I'm just going to minimize my portion. All right. Again, thank you for being here. There is a Padlet that looks like this. Like I said, the computer is a little slow time. So the Padlet is loading. Padlet is here. There'll be some things on the Padlet for you to see. As soon as it loads, it's pretty much myself to the stream so you can see me. The things we're going to talk about is, again, federal programs, career and technology, and then some ESSER 3 stuff at the end as well. So there's a sign-in sheet link. There's the Padlet that I did put in the chat. There's YouTube Live link, Facebook Live, and there's a Twitter Live as well. These are the 3 meetings. You don't have to come to all 3. You don't even have to come to one if you don't want. But we do offer it for people who are wanting to watch from home or wanting to watch from anywhere at their desk. It's available to them, and you don't have to set up an account if you want to watch it on YouTube. Again, those are the links. We are located at the FSISD Technology Building, located at 1204 West 2nd Street. Again, there's the link with the QR code. You might have a little bit of issue every now and then with the internet. So right here, this is a requirement for the annual federal programs meetings that we have, usually in the springtime. And so we just have to inform of the school's participation to the public, explain requirements of Title I Part A, and then the rights of the stakeholders involved, which mainly is just parents more than anything. Again, and then part of the Title I Part A program is that you improve student academics. And basically, there's also a parent-student compact. And basically, a compact is just kind of what we say we're going to do with parents, and it's located in our handbooks that we pass out every year, and now they're digitally that you can go online and get to them. You can also get them hard copy if you want from either campus. But it's the right of parents to be involved in the school's programs and the decisions that are relating to the education of their children as well. Within that aspect, there's also the CIP and DIP, and those are just campus improvement plans and a district improvement plan that just is a blueprint for focusing on an improvement. A lot of it is tied to STAR and EOCs. Go back. A lot of it is tied to STAR and EOCs, and then it just addresses extra help for students and being efficient with taxpayer money and how we keep engagement of parents and family members within the school district. There is also another aspect of it that there is an elementary parent-teacher conference, which is a requirement only for the elementary campuses. It's not a requirement for the high school or middle school campuses. Don't know why it is the way it is, but there is a end-of-year conference that I think it happens in the first 6 weeks, first quarter, where they meet with parents and they schedule these meetings. The next part is back to the policy and compact, where we have to say we have flexible meetings, we have engagement activities we provide the curriculum and assessment information to the parents. And curriculum is basically what we teach. And believe it or not, we don't get to decide what we teach our kids. That is all in the law that comes down from statute that says in Texas Education Code that explains what we have to teach. Instruction is how we teach it, and the assessment is how we test the teaching of that curriculum. And then that we provide any additional meetings as necessary. There is, again, the Parent-Student Compact is a written agreement that how we improve student learning, curriculum, support learning for all kids. We have frequent communication. We help with parents and families in decision-making. And we just get the parents involved. It's basically what's in that Parent Compact. The curriculum, again, is basically what we have to teach, which is usually assessed through local assessments and STAR EOCs. We also have to kind of integrate the calendar as well to know exactly when we're going to assess students and what issues they're dealing with throughout the year. The school calendar is a quite intense task because you got to get everything in line with each other, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer than normal. So, and then the meetings we have is to inform parents and to educate how we educate their children. We use social media a lot here recently because of that. And so that kind of helps out because if it's on social media, you know it's got to be the truth, right? Going back to Title I Part A allocations, there's just a law that says, and we just have to inform parents in the community that if we get over $500,000, that 10% of that has to be, 1% of the 10% has to be allocated to family engagement. And a lot of that money we use to provide for the salary for Estella Casas, who's our parent liaison, who helps out a lot of parents within our community here in Fort Stockton. So shout out to Estella Casas, always working with parents and family members to make sure that kids get what they need in their education. The other thing that's part of this Title I Part A is the teacher qualifications. Anybody can ask for teacher qualifications from the school or school district. So if you want to, it's out there. We're able to do that. Parents have the right to know if a teacher is not certified. And believe it or not, with the teacher shortages in Texas and across the country, there's a lot of areas that we can allow teachers to teach in our schools if they're doing certain things to progress towards certification. They also passed a law a few years ago that said if you have somebody who's been a nurse for a long time and you're teaching certain classes that can be counted from the experiences of being a nurse, such as CNA classes, certified nurse assistant classes, you can do that. And that's really for CTE classes more than anything. All right. There is a letter that gets mailed home informing parents of that information. I know sometimes it seems like a lot, but we have to do that. And we just let parents know that we are trying to do our very best to hire the very best people that we have in our school district. There's also evaluation of our programs. Make sure we don't have any barriers against family engagement, parent engagement. Barriers are just things that, for example, if we had certain meetings all the time on a Sunday afternoon, that probably wouldn't be the best. Just things like that, needs of parents, and then how we get that information through meetings, committees, social media, and then just report any findings if there are any barriers to parents that are not able to participate within the school for the benefit of their children. These are just a listing of all the Title I and all the federal programs that are on here. There's quite a bit of them, and federal programs just basically means we get a little bit of allocation money to provide for the services in this. Not a lot, but it's not everything that encompasses what we pay for to help out with our kids, but it is significant enough that we have to report it. And so basically the whole idea is to lower classroom sizes of our kids, of our classrooms in our schools, and to improve teaching within the school district. Title I is really geared to what we can do to help economically disadvantaged students. And there's also how we can help those kids do better in schools through evidence-based research and strategies. And so it's all about improving academics, especially of the economically disadvantaged students. And that's just a federal program. That's why a lot of times we have to fill out. Parents get upset when they don't want to fill out the free and reduced lunch form. But the federal government and the state government want to know who those kids are. It's not us, because it doesn't really matter what the kids, where they come from or how they come from. We're going to teach them. But the federal government and state government do want to know that. There's also migrant. Migrant is Title I Part C, migrant services. Basically, it's temporary seasonal work. Back in the day, it was agriculture and fishing. I have my opinion is that we have a lot of oil field migrant workers and their kids, but that's not how that works. And it's just to help them overcome the challenges and succeed in school, because a lot of those kids do sometimes move from, whether it's Florida, up north, California, Texas. It's really what it was designed for. We actually have 10 students who are migrant students within our school district of 2,280 kids at the end of the school year. So right now we have 10 of those students, which we do meet with them. We do have meetings and activities for them to make sure that they are successful in our schools. And they're supporting effective instruction, which is Title II Part A. Again, all these little numbers, they just basically mean that's the way the federal law puts it in place. And so again, it's how we can how we can increase student achievement through the quality and effectiveness of principals, school leaders, and teachers. Okay. Then there's Title III, which is basically how we address students who are English as their second language, ELs, English learners, and how we help them do well on their proficiency with English and on basically the STAR test as well. Title IV is, again, it talks about how we can improve the academic enrichment of students, well-rounded education for students, and how we can improve use of technology. Supplement versus not supplant. Okay, supplement basically says, and supplant, there's two different things. Supplement says, hey, if you're already spending, $10,000 on this, you can spend, $5,000 more. Supplant means a lot of times schools say we're only spending that $5,000 that the federal government gives us. You can't do that. Sometimes it's a supplement thing. And so again, here's the explanation of what that is. Supplement just says it's adding to what you're already spending. Supplant says we're replacing all that money that the federal government is giving you to do what you said you were going to do. All right. Title V Part B is the Rural Education Initiative, or REAP. Basically says we live in a rural area, so we do get a little bit more money to help out with our schools. And so a lot of that, we put that into teacher pay and salaries, and how we can increase teacher pay or hire more teachers to lower our classroom sizes. Then there's a state compensatory education program, right? State compensatory education program is basically a program in Texas that says, hey, we want to make sure that students who are at risk get the most benefits out of education compared to students who are not at risk, and reduce the dropout rate is basically what they don't want as well. So there are several different ways to be an at-risk student. If you failed a grade level, that's one of them. If you did not maintain an average of 70 from grades 7 to 12, if you did not perform well in the STAR, which is 110%, what that basically means is, let's just say I have to make a 70 to pass the STAR. That means that for me to be beyond this at-risk thing, I have to make a 77 instead of a 70. I will tell you those are not the passing rates of the STAR test, but that's just an example. Then if there's a pre-kindergarten or kindergarten grades 1, 2, or 3, if they did not perform satisfactorily on a readiness test, if a student is pregnant or is a parent, if they've been replaced in an alternative education program, if they've been expelled, if they're on parole, probation, they've been arrested for had deferred prosecution, they've been a dropout, if they are a limited English proficient student, if they've been part of the Department of Family and Protective Services, if the student is homeless, is another area where they can be considered at risk. If they've been in a residential placement facility, and if they or their parents have been in jail or prison, we don't go seeking that information out. All right. So if we know about it, we notate it in the student's file that is reported to the state of Texas. But for us to go out and ask parents if they've been in jail or prison, we do not do that. All right. Now this I'm going into, that's going to be all the title programs for federal programs. Now I'm going to go into the CTE part of the federal programs. The Perkins program is basically career and technology, and this is an indicator from the last report, which was 2020 to 2021. And so what it basically says, it compares Fort Stockton ISD to the state when it compares to different aspects of learning, like the 4-year graduation rate. If you notice, the statewide rate was 97 and our district was 96. The extended year graduation rate, what that means is, okay, a kid was supposed to graduate in 2023, but let's just say they graduate in 2024. That's what that means. Like, so these 3% here that didn't graduate, does that rate change after a year? It did. It went up to 1%. And if you notice in Fort Stockton, what we do, yes, we know there's 4% of our graduates that didn't graduate, but we try to do our best to get them to graduate. And so we were able to do that beyond the normal graduation date that's usually in May. And then there's a proficiency in reading. We're a little bit lower in that. Same thing in math, same thing in science. The post-program placement, again, we're a little bit lower in that as well. And then the non-traditional program concentration, that is a crazy indicator, but that basically says, do you have males that are in CNA classes, and do you have females who are in the auto tech classes? Okay. It's funny that we get measured on that, but we do. Then we have the program quality attainment recognized, and then the CTE completer with the program quality as well. And I'll go over a little bit that here a little bit because that's very confusing because they've changed the law on us a few years ago. This is just the indicators here. The indicators here, we're going to go over 1S2, I believe. Yeah. This is just a student performance, and these are the indicators here. It's just basically the same one. It just compares us the numbers in a chart reference, and you can see the blue line is the state, and then we are the orange lines right there. And we are doing it really well. Forest 1, again, that's the comparison of basically females being in more male traditional CTE classes as opposed to them being in non-male classes. And we don't decide what those classes are. The state of Texas does, and they say, hey, you got to have females in these classes. You got to have males in these classes. That's what we have to deal with. And then this is just another indicator, the CTE performance level. Now, this says, how did the CTE students do compared to non-CTE students? And I will tell you, looking at this slide is very important. It just basically says if a kid is in a CTE class at high school, more than likely they will do better than kids who are not in a CTE class. And there we have plenty of CTE classes at the high school where kids can, from welding to cosmetology to CNA to auto tech to woodworking. So it's basically saying those kids do better when they're in those classes. This is our district ranking, the state career clusters of how many learners we have in the different career clusters at the high school. A lot of them are in human services, 45 kids, 38 kids in health science, 34 in law and public service. The ag class is 32, architecture, construction. There's 25, 23, and you can see it goes all the way down. The one that scares me a little bit is education and training, because there's very few people there. And then again, there's very few people in science, technology, engineering, and math. A lot of times people call that STEM as well. This is just this is a new indicator, really kind of hasn't been in place up until this year, and it was the improving equity and access. It basically says, do you have enough males and females compared to the state or compared to the district? So if you notice there, we're doing pretty good as far as making sure that we're equitable. It's making sure that Hispanic students, who are the majority of our students, are in CTE, as well as the white and male and female. Now, this is the whole Texas CTE indicator auto coding system, which is very confusing to a lot of us. But it basically says you start out as you have students who are not in CTE courses. Then you have a student who completes either one high school CTE course for any number of credits, and that is a CTE participant. And you're probably wondering, why do you make up all these names? I wish it was us, but it was the state of Texas that wants to know if these kids are doing CTE activities, because they know that not every kid is going to go into a four-year college or university, but they do know they want kids going out and being productive citizens for the state of Texas and the federal government. All right, and then here's a code. ECT Explorer is a student who completes 2 or more high school CTE courses, 2 or more credits of participant. Then there is a concentrator. This is a student who completes and passes 2 or more high school CTE courses. And then a completer is a student. This is where we want kids to be. Student who completes and passes 3 or more high school CTE courses for a total of 4 more credits, including 1 level 3 or level 4 course within the program of study. So it's very confusing. And so basically what it means is, do we have kids? I'm going to kind of break it down to the most simplest way I can explain this is, if you have a kid that does woodshop 1 their freshman year, woodshop 2 their sophomore, 3 their junior year, and woodshop 4 their senior year, and then you throw in other classes, like there may be a computer class, so that way they can help do their business part of the business if they wanted to go into carpentry. And then if there's a public speaking class as well. So there's all these little classes that kind of help them out, and they may even want to take a metals class to help understand that how it impacts them in the woodworking class if they want to be a carpenter. So that's kind of how that works. It's all the classes that they take to help them do well in that job down the road. Okay. Program study overview. This is definition of it. Basically, it incorporates the program of study is what the state of Texas says we have to make sure we're doing in our schools. We incorporate challenging state academic standards. We want to make sure employee skills is important. We have to meet the needs of our state, region, and local economy. Progress through the beginning of all aspects of the industry with more occupation-specific instruction. And then how we incorporate credentialing. Credentialing is, for example, we have students who are part of the CNA class and get a CNA certificate. That's just one example. And again, that's that post-secondary credential. Here's the 16 program of studies that got changed. Ag, there's no change. Architecture, no change. Art, AV, no change. They combined business management and administration with marketing and finance, okay? Government and public admin, they combine with law, public, and corrections down here. So they're always changing them on us. There's one that says law, public, corrections, security got combined with government. So there's 16 of them, but actually there's less. And then we added energy career cluster as well. That's just to inform you that we have to let you know. A lot of times you may hear the high school counselors or principals or teachers say, well, what's your program of study, or what's your 4-year plan, and what do you want to be? And a lot of it has to do with the state of Texas saying you got to make sure kids know what they want to be. And it actually starts in middle school, where we have to do some career exploration for those kids as well. This is a link that it is on that Padlet. If you want to go to it, this explains in more detail the approved statewide career and technology programs of study. All right, so that is there. You can look at it if you want to read things. If you're ever bored at night, or you have some questions about career and technology, that's one of the places where you can go to. This other website is the Texas Workforce Commission. It's very important, very informative to a lot of things. that go on with jobs, and there's a lot of programs within the Texas Workforce Commission that can help students acquire post-secondary knowledge. Basically says, what am I going to do when I get out of high school? There is a cool part of the Texas Workforce Commission that says career awareness for students. And then there's right here at the very bottom, it says K-12 students and parents. It's a good link down there that, again, is in the Padlet. So if you want to go to the Padlet, there's some things there that you can look at and address. Now, here's what earlier in the presentation, we talked about how we have to look at what the job market is for our area. We're in, I guess, area 11 in this area right here. This is where we're at. And I want to show you something right here. See if it lets me do this. I was where that information is at. So this is where the Texas Workforce Commission information is at. There's a reality check, pretty cool, and I'll show you here in a little bit. Let me just show you the Workforce Commission website. Again, the computer is a little slow. I suspect it's the internet. This is the Texas Workforce Commission website. It's got a lot of information for parents. Anybody, really. If you ever wanted to do a job or do career exploration, this is the way to go. This is another link to that page that is basically geared towards career awareness for students, parents, and educators. There's a Succeed at Work document. It's pretty cool. There is K-12 students and parents, career planning and services for students. To that. Loads. The computer is a little slow. I appreciate you being patient. This is a pretty cool K-12 students and parents. There's a reality check. I would tell you can do a self-assessment. Self-assessment says, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Well, this is a good self-assessment that can help them understand that. And there's a reality check. The reality check is pretty cool because it gives kids an idea of what they have to make to be able to provide for the livelihood that they want to live. All right. So here's a start your reality check. You go through here and you tell it all the expenses where you want to live first. Let's just say, everybody wants to live in Midland, right? Everybody wants to live in Midland. And then you say, well, where are you going to live? It kind of gives you an estimate, like a studio apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, a house. Let's just say I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment. I click on that. I go to my utilities. And then you say, well, I want a mobile phone. I also want the internet. Well, I got to have water and gas. I don't think I need cable, but I will need electricity. Then I get next. So you just go on and on and on. And it'll ask you all these questions. And it'll tell you what it thinks you need to make to be able to provide for the lifestyle that you want to live. Okay. All right. So I think a lot of kids want to eat at home and dine out. So you can just go on and on and on. I will tell you that it's pretty eye-opening because sometimes kids don't realize that it's going to cost this much money to live the lifestyle that they want. Most kids have to use auto. Human power is free, I guess, except if you have to fix a bike flat. All right. Clothing is here. So let's just say work clothes is there. Maybe like accessories, basics. I don't know where you can buy $45 a month worth of clothes, but it says there. And then there's most of our kids like to shop to their drop. I'm going to take that off. Let's just say that. There's healthcare, which kids don't even think about a whole lot. What health jobs provide health care for them. So they have to put that information here as well. Let's just say they're on their parents. Thank you, parents, for keeping your kids on their health insurance. I can put vision and dental because that's probably with your parents, but who knows, right? Let's just say your vision is not or your dental. I would recommend both these. Taking care of your eyes and your teeth are very important. So I'm going around, and then basics. Let's see, this is like deodorant, soap, shampoo. I don't know where you can buy $50 worth of that stuff, but it says it's there. There's health and fitness, professional service like pedicures, manicures, haircuts, extras, and then there's luxuries down here. All right, so I think if you click them all, it's more intuitive to what's going on. And then there's entertainment. I'm just gonna say party bundle, because I don't know what a home bundle. $50. Most kids spend way more than that. I know my kids do. All right. Then there's miscellaneous. If you have pets, if you want to go on vacations, this is a monthly. Again, this is monthly vacation. I like new electronics, but I also like my new furniture. I don't have to have a dog. So then if you have a student loan, let's go right here. All right, you can have debt-free, or you can have like a certificate. Let's just say you have a certificate to be a welder or a CNA. That was an associate's degree, and that's kind of guessing the student debt you would have. If you plan on having a kid, 2 kids, or plan on having 3 more children. Let's just say I don't want no kids right now, right? Nope. I want no kids, no turns walking bother me, right? And then there is, do you plan on saving money? Most kids will tell you they're crazy, but let's just say you save between 100 and 200 bucks a month. Let's just say 86, right? I'm going to save 86 bucks a month, 2% of your income. So for me to live that lifestyle, I would have to get a job that pays $65,565. Now, why is that important? That's important because of this. Okay. This here is our Area 11 job market next 10 years. It's working. There we go. So this is our job market information for the next 10 years in our area. If you notice here, this is the growth rate. The growth rate for hospitality and tourism, ushers, lobby attendants, ticket. So then there's baggage porters, bellhops. That's hospitality. That's in hotels. Then there's bus drivers, transit in inner city. There's food preparation. That's restaurants. Again, hotels, cooks, actors. Don't know where. But here's the thing. So that's how much people they need. Their growth rate index. But look at their pay. If it's yellow, the state of Texas says that's not enough money for you to do well. The first job that has the highest growth, I just want to let you know, is in education. It's the first job that the average is about $69,000. And I will tell you, here in Fort Stockton, we have plenty of teachers who are making more than that. So that is the growth rate of the job. Now I want to show you something else. I'm going to clear that. All right, let me come over here, and I'm going to sort this out by the highest paying jobs. People are like, I want to make the money, right? I will tell you, look at the money makers, the 252,000 all the way to, let's just say 151,000. Okay. Medical. All the top 5 are medical jobs that are making anywhere 252,000 all the way up to 186. There's dentists again. All right. And so it goes all the way down. There is architect and engineering is up there as well. And then there's chief executives. People are like, I want to be a chief executive. I don't know what you're going to be a chief executive of. Maybe your house. I don't know. Maybe the fryer. I don't know. So be very careful with that. What that means. That usually means some type of. If you go over here, it tells you what you kind of need. Chief executive. That usually requires a bachelor's degree of some sort, unless you are your own boss, I guess. So that is just the information there that I wanted to share with you. Okay. Which again, that information is in the Padlet. If you want to go there. All right. There is a website back in the Padlet. Like if you want to give us any information on CTE, current technology, you are more than welcome to. All right. Now, last part of this is going to be the ESSER information. ESSER is just elementary and secondary school emergency relief. That had to do back with COVID-19, and we still have some money from that. Not a lot. We're running out of it. I think this will be the last year that we have some of that money. It was just basically to address learning recovery, although we do have to tell people in the public what we did with that money. Okay. And then there's the 3, it was ESSER 1, 2, and 3. ESSER 1 was coronavirus aid. ESSER 2 is coronavirus response. And then ESSER 3 was American Rescue Plan. All right. And then this was just the amount of money that we received from. I'm going to go over more where we spent that money. And it was just addressed to spend money on the learning recovery for students and high quality teaching across Fort Stockton ISD, and that we target those supports for children as well. And there were things we had to consider, like the health and safety of students, reduce the risk of virus transmissions, and then retain high high impact individuals within the school district, and those are our teachers. Then we had to address how we can help low income students as well, and then incorporate the best academic practices, again, that are high quality assessments and academic progress. We have basically had to improve on academics, okay? And then again, that's more about supporting teachers, individual student learning, tutorials, things like that, having high expectations for academic support. It's all, and so what we did here in Fort Stockton, we put in things like the academic high need stipends, like tested subject stipends, improve student academic performance. We also have an innovative zone pay that allows us to pay teachers a little bit more than what they would be paid in other school districts. Then we also did retention stipends for COVID-19. We did that 2 or 3 years, and I'll go over that more in a little bit, show you where that's at. That was just retain quality of current employees. We did replace the HVAC system, the air conditioning system at Apache. We also did some things for social and emotional needs, such as Rachel's Challenge, just to be kind to each other, minimize school violence. There was 2 plans that we have to have on our website, and I'll show you where those are at. Plan to return in-person instruction and continuity of services, and then the use of the funds that we have within the district. So this is, as of today, this is where we've spent the money. ESSER 1, basically it's gone, but we paid money. We dispersed that money for COVID pay, consulting services, Chromebooks for the connectivity of keeping kids connected to the internet and within their teachers in the schools. And then ESSER 2, we spent that money as well, which went to retention pay and then maintenance and custodial as well. As far as the salaries, there is some indirect costs. If you notice, for $87,000, what that basically means is that the state says, hey, you can put this amount of money into your fund balance for a later date. And that's what indirect cost is, or the cost of implementing the programs that we have in place. That doesn't tell you, it just basically says you have the ability to spend that money a little bit differently than the money that we paid for retention pay and maintenance and custodial. And this is ESSER 3. ESSER 3, we did receive almost $5 million. If you notice, we already spent quite a bit of that. Retention pay for salaries and teachers, that's just to retain our teachers and give them, all our staff members, they receive that extra check, usually November or December. This is a campus curriculum directors, and the curriculum directors was about $1 million. It's their salaries. The zone pay teachers, that's a way we pay teachers a little bit more money based upon their performance within the schools. There's academic stipends. For example, if I teach a tested subject stipend, that's going to be where I get a little bit more money, because tested subject teachers, a lot of the accountability in schools rides on their shoulders. All right, then there's summer school pay, tutorials like Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday nights, and then there's a Texas Tech tuition. We do have a Texas Tech online program that we've used at Butt School. There's Rachel's Challenge. We bought a lot of air filters, replaced the HVAC system. So that's how much money we spent so far. We haven't balanced. We've got about $290,000, but we still owe some salaries and things like that we have to pay. So we'll end up finishing out. It helped out a lot with what we had to do within the district. Now, one of the questions somebody asked me earlier is like, where do we get that money from now? A lot of that money is going to be paid out of fund balance. So that's where that comes from. The ESSER 3 information is right there on our website. It has to be posted with some other documents that are on there. If you have any questions, this is questions for your schools. Central office is right there. That's all the school information. With that being said, I think that is it. I don't see anybody else with any more questions. So I'm going to type thank you. Let me get out of this. Stop sharing. Again, I want to thank you for being here. We spent about 40 minutes during your lunchtime. I'll be here again Thursday night at 6 p.m. and then Saturday morning at 10. I'm going to type thank you for tuning in, and be safe. I don't see any questions. Does anybody have any questions in the room? Mr. Castile wants to know if I'm done. I told him I was. So the agenda time, it looks like, is 12:41 p.m. So I appreciate it. You guys take care. Be safe. If you have any questions, you can put it in that Padlet link, and I will put that Padlet link one more time in the chat. So that way, a link to Padlet. That being said, you guys be safe. There's about 8 people out there today, 6 people getting off. So I appreciate you guys. Take care and be safe.